Hello, everybody. Long time no see. Glad to be back. And if you saw in many of my community posts, you know I had some issues going on. So I do want to, I know this was a non expected pop up um, thing for today, but I have so much I need to catch up on, and I wanted to make sure to start getting all this information and stuff out to you guys. Hello, Mama Bear. So, for a few minutes, and if you are watching this on rewind, you can forward this until we get to the information, which is in regards to the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force did a press conference that was, strangely enough, not even really covered in the news. And although that I do think there was some little stuff odd to it, and I'll be showing you that, and showing the information, showing you the odd information that came out about the highest number of cyber tips that they've received ever in a month from and then also I'm going to go through the new cybertipline.org site to show you the new setup, the new information, and what you need to know to report, or what kind of information you would want to gather if you are a victim of online child exploitation or sextortion, or if you have a child or a grandchild with that. I'm going to show you all the details and stuff that they need when you make that report. But quickly, and I won't take too much of the time, but I want to just kind of share something with you guys. So if you follow community posts, which are on people's YouTube's channel, and you can go look at what's being posted. And I've shared that because I used to always be really bad that I didn't even realize that YouTube channels had community posts at the time. But I never used to go read any of that stuff. I would never go look at all of it. And I do a lot of posting on there. I do the big post of arrests that are going on, whether federal or state charged, anything that's going on with the groups and stuff that I've been sharing with you, like the 764, any major cases that is going on, any missing kids that have been reported, and I try to keep that going. And but what I just wanted to share, I had given an update, a slight little update, that basically in the last, what's it been, 5 weeks now, I went in for, well, let's see, it was 5 weeks out now. Well, basically 2 heart surgeries. And it was an emotional time. And if you followed this channel for a long time, I've kind of shared stuff about that issue. And the only reason I want to share this is because I hope that what I share can kind of help encourage anybody who has not felt well, and maybe you don't have the right type of doctor or people listening to you or whatever, but I've had lots of heart procedures, and I had an LAD artery that had been um, operated on, done stents and things like that in it. I had to have open heart when I was really young to um, do a bypass to try to help that area. And I had been told already that I would not be able to have anything happen in that part of the heart anymore. But in all the procedures and everything that I had a really great doctor, which is really unusual to have. And anybody knows that if you finally find one who's really going to listen to you, that you keep that doctor, right? I mean, you get somebody who you tell them, hey, I feel this way or this way or this way. And if you find a doctor who listens to you and sends you for tests to make sure and does all that, it's a great and wonderful thing. Well, when I first started having all this, I had a really, really great heart doctor. And that heart doctor left and went to another state they wanted him to open up another heart hospital and be in charge of it. So I ended up having to switch to this other heart doctor who was supposed to be really good at what he does, the same type of issues that I have. But when I went to first see him, he's the one who had told me that, he went in, he was supposed to do a procedure. He came out, he didn't do anything with it. And then had told me before that, if we go in and we fix this, we can no longer go back in your LAD anymore. And I accepted that. Well, so I've had him for the last 4 years. And I kept telling him, and again, if you're watching this back, as a rewind, you can fast forward. You don't have to hear this, but I think it's important because I want to share this with you guys and hopefully encourage you to listen to your body and find the right doctor for yourself. And because this is like it's going to be hard for you to believe, because this stuff was hard for me to believe at the time. And over these 4 years, all the previous times I've had to usually go back in every 6 months to a year with my other doctor who I had for such a long period of time. We're talking 15 years, whatever, that we have to go back in because I develop scar tissue and it attacks foreign stuff in my body, basically, right? And so we'd always have to go back in and we'd have to open up stuff and things like that. Back in 2020, I had caught COVID. It enlarged my heart and it built up scar tissues and blood clots and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of issues. So during this whole 4-year period, I'm going to try to make this long story short. I had kept going in saying I wasn't feeling well. I was having trouble breathing. My chest pains seemed to be getting worse and were lasting longer. And when you've had, open heart and stents and stuff, you'll get chest pains and stuff. And there's different kinds, and you can get some because of certain things. But I've always been able to tell a difference between that. And men and women are very different. Women are extremely different from what type of pains that you get for your heart. And this doctor would keep telling me that different things, like that what I was feeling wasn't my heart. And one point It was, oh, I think it's your lungs. We're going to go get your lungs tested and see if it's that. And um, this last time, as I said, I'm going to jump way forward. This last time, which was about February, end of February, I think, of this year, I went back to see him because I had saw him at the end of the year, and I had told him, I'm still having this trouble. I'm getting clammy, just walking and moving around, blah, blah, blah. So when I went back in February, I tell this doctor this, and he's like, you know, um, we don't, we don't need to go in there. He goes, I think it's your ribs. He literally told me he thought it was my ribs. My ribs were hurting. And in my head, I was so pissed that I told myself, you know what? I'm talking to myself in my head, and I was like, do not say anything, right? You sit here and you let them say something, and then you don't say anything. And my head was just sitting here thinking, you need to open your mouth and you really need to say something to him. Now, about a year prior, I had a stress test, and I'm going to tell you something about stress because I've had it for a long time. One regular stress test never showed abnormal on me, even before I had any issues with my heart. So the stress test that I mean is like the one when you go running and stuff like that, and then they check you and they see if there's something wrong. Well, those stress tests only show so much. And even if you get a nuclear scan, it can indicate if you're having, at that point, not blood flow and stuff like that that you need. But if you get an actual heart scan that's checking your calcium buildup, which let me tell you right now, they're usually at hospitals that they offer it, especially during Heart Month, they run usually about $50. And they promote those going out. Make sure they're checking the calcium scale. Why? Because that's showing what the actual blockage is in your heart, meaning anything building up, scar tissue or calcium, right? And so I had a nuclear test that looked fine. And then when we went in there this time, which was less than a year difference, like less than a year, because I had to insist on it. He was like, "Well, I don't think we go in there. I think it's your ribs. I think your ribs hurting." And I was like, "You know what? I'm trying to prevent myself from having a heart attack. I don't feel well." And he goes, "Well, if you insist, I'll send you for another stress test," which I did. Um, and we go and we went ahead and we looked at the stress test. That's a nuclear test. And in this test, it had got so bad that in this stress test, it showed that my whole left side of my heart was not receiving enough oxygen and blood flow. So the lady who I've known for a really long time, she didn't say it, but she kind of said it when she kind of tells me you should be getting a phone call the next day, because normally they'll tell you they'll get a hold of you and at the end of the week or whatever. And I kind of knew when she said that something's not right. And so that doctor didn't call me the next day. I had to call the ending of the day that next day and talk to a nurse, and they were like, "Well, we're waiting to hear what he wants to do." And then it comes back and said, "Well, he wants to check and see if you want him to go in and check." And I'm thinking, right. The big thing always has been, long as if there's something that changes, that's when you go check. And that means just doing a heart cath and checking if there's something wrong. So I was like, yeah, I want to go in because I'm on every medication you can be on. So he goes in there, and I'm sorry, this is probably taking longer than you want. And again, you can fast forward through this if you don't want to hear it to get to the good stuff. But so I sit here and go through the heart cath with this guy, and he sits here and when he comes in, because he acted like he didn't want to do it, right? He acted like he was bothered for me to ask him to go in to do this. And even his comment when he was sitting there, because the nurses had asked if I had had any chest pain. And I said, yeah, that morning before I came in, I had some chest pain at 2 o'clock. So when he walks in, he's like, oh, the nurses said you were having chest pain. I'm like, God damn it. You know why I'm here. That's the reason I've wanted this stuff. I keep having the chest pain. I keep having all these issues, and you're not there, right? So we go in, and then later on I come out, and he did not do anything. He didn't do anything. He went in and saw. He came back out. They bring a paper out, and they show you this graph of your heart, and they show you, like, if you have stents in your heart, they'll mark that. But if you have any blockages in your heart, they show you exactly where they are, and they tell you the percentages. So he comes out and he tells me I have 3 blockages in my heart, that my LAD is 100% closed up, and that I have a 90% blockage and an 80% blockage in my LCX, which I've never had any issue, nothing and stuff with. So he comes out and basically says that there's nothing he can do, that the LCX top portion that's blocked at 90% is near too close to the top. It's near the aorta. He doesn't want to put a stent or anything there. And then I find out in between this, God willing, that my old doctor had come back and actually came back to the same hospital again. And in between me finding this out and going to have that procedure, I talked to him about possibly seeing him again, because I was already like, I don't feel like I'm clicking with this doctor. I don't feel like with it. And you guys, I appreciate you listening to this, because I went from hope that they could help me from a place that I was told there was nothing they could do. And it was extremely emotional for me, for my family, for my friends. And I don't want anybody, it can happen to your parents when they have doctors who don't listen to them. It can happen to you if you have a doctor that doesn't listen. And if you don't speak up, this is what I said to myself in my head. If you don't speak up right now, I'm the one who pays the price, not him, right? I'm the one who pays the price. So anyway, my old doctor, I went and I talked to him and I told him what was going on. And I had said that that Monday I was going in to have that procedure done by the other doctor to check it and what was in that report. So he knew it in advance. And he told me, okay, well, you go have that procedure done. Let him fix what's going to be fixed on that Monday. He says, you'll have a 2-week follow-up. And he says, and after you have that, then I will switch you to have you as a patient. Well, when I went in there and then found out that he comes out, and because he did not check my heart and did not go back inside for 4 years, even though it is on record every single time of me reporting what is going on, he's saying I have these 3 blockages and there's nothing he can do. With my family there, right? I got sent home with a 100% block, a 90% block, and an 80% block. And I was scared to death. So I go in with the current doctor that I had, not my old doctor, and he does that. He doesn't do a damn thing for it. And then when I go back to look, he sits there and he's like, "Well, instead of us unblocking and stuff, I'm going to switch you to this medication." And then I look at the paperwork when I leave the hospital when I come home, and I see that he puts me on a medication that I've been on before. So he doesn't even know that because he doesn't look at the shit or talk to me. And then his follow-up for me with those blockages in my heart, he was not going to see me till July. I promise I'll only take a couple more minutes of this. So I was like, he's not even following up with me in 2 weeks, even from having the procedure that I did that you're supposed to follow up with. So I contacted my old doctor who had returned and let him know, look, this was found out. It was horrible. The stress test was really bad. The procedure says I have blockages. And now this doctor's not going to even see me till July. He's not planning on doing anything. So my old doctor turned around, sent me the info, and had them schedule me that my 2-week follow-up, which should have been norm, was with him. And he made sure that I was like on that schedule big time. And when I go in with him, the first thing he asks me, "What did that doctor tell you?" So I tell him, one, he doesn't say much of anything, and that he was like, "You can't do anything." So he looks at his old videos when he did the procedures. It shows the video of your heart beating and them going inside. He looks at the video when he did it. He looks at all this other stuff. And by the way, I did learn after reading the report that got filed in my portal for the hospital, I didn't have 3 blockages. I actually had 4. He only told me of 3. There was the LAD that was blocked 100%, and I had a 90% blockage at the top of my LCX, and then 2 80% blockages in the middle of my LCX and at the lower part of my LCX. And he did not tell me of all the blockages. He only drew those 3. So, this doctor went in and he did the procedure, and we thought it was going to have to be 2 procedures. We knew it was going to be a very long procedure because of everything that was going on. And he was able to get stents into the LCX, and he was able to reopen my LAD because he just used a medicated balloon, since you can't put any stents or anything else in there. And so I went from talking to this doctor that I had some hope about getting in there and doing it. Now, have I had a stent ever collapse? Yes. Has it been because of scar tissue? Yes. But it's a big difference between being told we can't do anything and having hope that you leave and your family's not upset. So this is why I haven't been around. I haven't been here. But if there is a doctor that you have that is not listening to you and you're not getting better, or if you have a parent who has a doctor and they're not sending them for the testing they need and listening to them and doing it, it is worth the time of getting a second opinion or just switching doctors, because you are the person whose price it will pay if they're wrong. Now, I'm sorry if I bored some of you with that information, and I know this is true crime, and all of you know I do true crime because I want to feel like I'm still doing something here worthwhile for others and helping others and doing things as long as I can. And I will continue to do that as long as I can. And I just wanted to share with you guys what had happened and what was going on and the importance of you being taken care of. And if you're not feeling right, if you're tired, if you're exhausted, if you just don't feel like yourself, please listen to your body. Take that moment, get checked, get some help, because you are the one who pays the price for it. And if the doctor isn't listening to you, then go get another doctor. Find somebody who will run the tests and stuff on you. Because if my old doctor had not come back into town, I would be with a doctor who would have told me that's it. And I'd be waiting for that 90% to continue to fill an additional 10% and probably have died from a heart attack very soon. And I mean that, and I hope you guys don't mind me sharing that story with you. So anyway, all right, let's get started here. So I'm going to share the screen, and the way I can share this screen is a little awkward because the video I have to show you is not on YouTube, and when it's not there, I have to post it a different place and pull it up from a different place. So, all right. So many of you probably have not, because most people have not heard about this actual national operation that took place across the U.S. The Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force decided to go ahead and do a press conference from that. And I thought it was interesting at the time because not everything's out there yet. Not all this stuff is done, but they did decide to do the press conference itself. So the Operation Safe Online Summer, or SOS, was held during the month of April of 2025. And it's amazing that in Indiana, they received 1,782 cyber tips from NetMech. That is the most from NetMech in their history of taking tips. And sorry, the dog wants to move while I'm doing this. So they had multiple agencies across the state of Indiana that participated in that. And then all of the agencies across the country were participating in it and were focusing on it. We have the Indiana State Police Superintendent Anthony Scott was in it. You'll recognize the First Sergeant Chris Cecil. He was part of the Delphi case, the Keegan Klein case. So from those investigations, 268 investigations were developed just in April, opened in April. 55 arrests, 19 were hands-on offenders, and 3 were already registered sex offenders. So we've got Indianapolis, which is represented by IMPD, the Bloomington PD, Terre Haute Police Department, And then the Madison County Prosecutor's Office, which is also reporting on Anderson, because during kind of this overlap, they did a sex sting for guys that would come in from Anderson to basically meet a 13-year-old child. And so they had a bunch of arrests and stuff that happened. And if you do watch my community post, you will see what's going on from that. Now, I have followed the internet crimes that have happened in Indiana, as many of you have known from the beginning of this. The arrests that have happened since 2017, basically till now, where I have not only kept these of where they've happened in Indiana, or where I have learned of other predators outside of Indiana but had victims within Indiana, and or guys who were Indiana predators and then were arrested in a different state for being an online predator. But I have kept track of those since the Delphi case. And I have kept track of those even somewhat a little bit backwards from that date. And I will give you a heads up that I do have some information that I am going to be sharing about things I believe that the police already knew about Emily Ann before the Delphi murders happened, and about arrests and raids that happened with the FBI. And one of the parts that I'm going to cover is that a potential motive that I see for Anthony Shots. And I'm going to show you the details and stuff from it, show you what my opinion is, and you guys can see it, look at it, and go from there. But what I'm showing you right now is the Indiana Internet Crime Cyber Tips. And I put an arrow down for you to see how many cyber tips were reported in 2017 when the Delphi murders happened. Now, you can see how low that amount was, of only 2,309. And I've shown this to you guys before, because what I've shown that is very interesting is that when you pop over to 2020 is when Keegan Kline was arrested, right? August of 2020. But none of us knew that yet. So the information was going to come out. Channel 8 Wish TV had contacted the Indiana State Police and let them know that there was a connection, that they knew about a connection of an Anthony Shots. And then the reporter found out that Anthony Shots from Channel 8 was the creator of that. Keegan Kline found out he was in jail. So what they did was two back-to-back things. One in December 6th of 2021 is when they came out and said, anybody who has been in contact with Anthony Shots, who had been in contact with Libby, right? They kind of shared that info with us, that to contact the Indiana State Police. And that's all they said. They said about Anthony Shots or whatever. Well, after that press release came out from the Indiana State Police, then like the next day, then we end up learning that, oh, by the way, the person who created Anthony Shots is already in jail, which was Keegan Kline. But they hadn't told us that. So the public for Indiana did not know that until December of 2021. But at the time, all of this goes out there about if you've been contacted on the internet if Anthony Schatz has been communicating or tried to meet, or, what platform were they on, blah, blah, blah. It all came out. So if you look at the 2020, before anybody heard about Keegan, we were up to the 6,000 reports, right? And now look at 2021, right? That's when we didn't know till December 6th. So still, it was up to 7,000, over 7,000 reports. The very next year, after everybody hears about the Anthony Schatz, and I'm not saying these are all Anthony Schatz, don't get me wrong, but as soon as all that information goes out about that there was an Anthony Schatz contacting Libby and communicating with online, trying to meet with her, all that information comes out. Look at the beginning now of 2022, the amount of cyber tips. They doubled. More than 14,000 cyber tips. So now we're going forward of this information of things coming out. The Internet Crimes Against Children gets set up within this period of time, right? 22, 23. So now we're still growing. Not slowed down till 2024. Now let me show you this. This is a per month breakdown of the cyber tip statistics. Now this one only goes back to 2019. It doesn't go back to the Delphi murders, which, I mean, there was so little amount. You're now turning around. Let me go backwards to show you again. If you look at 2017, you're only talking 2,300. I mean, you look at here, you've got that in a month now. In a month. And it lets you see each month over these different years from 2019 to 25, how many of these reports and stuff are going on and how many were received. So the one thing that they reported, and I'm sure this is going to be explained because in the press conference, they talk about that this is the most tips from NetMec in 1 month that they concentrated on, and they concentrate on the 1782. But I want you to look at this. Look at what 2025 looks like. And it doesn't even have May in there. We're not going down. Now, the good news is more cyber tips means more kids are reporting, more parents are reporting, more kids are aware of it. It's important for them to know about this. These kids are ending up either sexually assaulted because they're met. They finally make them meet. Some are being kidnapped. Some are being trafficked. If it's part of the 764 group, if you're watching my community post, you see all the updates of 764 members. I'm also going to show you in the video that I'm talking about coming up, not this one, but the next video that has all this stuff in there, that I believe we already had these 764 members already operating way before they said they were. They just never told us what the name of the group was. But I think they've always been participating in that because their end game is they have children self-harming and they've had kids commit suicide. So I'm going to show you the video now, and I've got to go out of this to show it to you. And let me make sure. And let me know, Mama Bear, if this doesn't work right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this. You will recognize people in that, but let's get started.
Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. You ready? Okay, good afternoon. I'm Captain Ron Galaviz. I'm the Chief Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police, and on behalf of Indiana State Police Superintendent Anthony Scott, I'd like to welcome you to our facility, which houses the overall investigations for the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. The task force is a multi-agency collaboration of local, state, and federal law enforcement and prosecuting attorneys dedicated to investigating, prosecuting, and developing effective responses to internet crimes against children. The Indiana State Police oversees the task force, which includes over 100 law enforcement and prosecuting attorneys' offices throughout the state. We're extremely proud to partner with those law enforcement professionals in its mission to protect one of our most vulnerable segments of our population, our children, and to help bring to justice those who seek to perpetuate the victimization of children for their own benefit. So again, on behalf of Superintendent Anthony Scott, I'd like to thank the agency leaders that are here today. And of course, they represent some of Indiana Icac's finest and most dedicated men and women. So the folks that you're going to hear from in this order will be First Sergeant Christopher Cecil. He's our ICAC commander. Chief Chris Bailey from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. Chief Michael Dekoff from the Bloomington Police Department. Detective Josh Loudermilk from the Terre Haute Police Department. And Andrew Hanna, the Chief Deputy Prosecutor for the Madison County Prosecutor's Office. So with that, I'd like to turn the podium over to First Sergeant Chris Cecil.
Good afternoon. In April of 2025, the Indiana Icac, or Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, collaborated with the other 60 task forces from across the United States to participate in Operation Safe Online Summer, dubbed also Operation SOS. Operation SOS is an Icac task force-led national effort to identify and increase the concentration of investigations and arrests, while also strengthening training and community outreach efforts in prevention, especially concerning the area of technology-facilitated crimes against children. During the national operation, the Indiana Icac initiated 268 investigations, of which 30 were proactive, self-initiated. Reactive investigation concerned citizen complaints and cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about online child exploitation, enticement, and solicitation of children. Proactive investigations tend to be peer-to-peer file sharing cases or self-initiated cases related to undercover chatting. The Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force received 1,782 cyber tips from NCMEC during the month of April. This number is a significant increase from the previous 6 years. The Indiana Icac had 55 arrests for April. Of those 55 arrests, 19 were determined to be hands-on offenders, and 3 were identified as sex offenders, registered sex offenders. The Indiana Icac and its education partner, the Indiana Center for Prevention of Youth Abuse and Suicide, conducted over 141 presentations, and approximately 5,080 people attended those presentations. The Indiana Icac Task Force remains vigilant and committed to working with its local and federal partners to protect society's most vulnerable to sexual exploitation children. Those offenders who seek to sexually exploit them for their own selfish and devious reasons will be identified, investigated, and prosecuted. On Tuesday, April 29, 2025, the Indiana State Police alongside its Icac partners, the Bloomington Police Department, the Bartholomew County Prosecutor's Office, the Bartholomew County Sheriff's Department, the Columbus Police Department, and the United States Secret Service executed a search warrant on a residence belonging to Andrew Case of Columbus. Detectives from the Bloomington Police Department identified Case as a potential distributor and possessor of child pornography from an undercover peer-to-peer file-sharing investigation. During the search of Case's residence, investigators gained information that Case was allegedly involved in child molesting and the production of child pornography. Icac Task Force detectives arrested Andrew Case and transported him to the Bartholomew County Jail on the preliminary charges of child molesting, level 4 felony, production of child pornography, level 4 felony, possession of child pornography, level 5 felony, and sexual misconduct with a minor, level 6 felony. Chief Bailey.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Bailey. I'm the chief of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. Today we stand together to shine the light on one of the darkest corners of our society, the exploitation and abuse of children through the internet. Most people try not to think about these crimes, but for Icac detectives, it's a harsh reality they face every day in the fight to protect children. Let me start with who matters most: the victims, children. Every single case, every investigation, every arrest, behind each one is a child who has been victimized, exploited, and in many cases, robbed of their innocence by people who use technology to hide their crimes and prey on our most vulnerable. And we must never forget that their pain is real, their stories matter, and our work is for them. Operation Safe Online Summer, or SOS, is a national effort that brings law enforcement agencies together to focus our energy and resources on finding these predators and protecting our kids, especially as summer begins and screen time goes up. But let me be clear, for the detectives of the IMPD and the Indiana Crimes Against Children Task Force, this is not a seasonal effort. This is a year-round work, and it's personal. In the months of April alone, IMPD detectives obtained 95 search warrants, not just for devices, but for social media accounts and physical locations where these crimes were taking place. They arrested 17 individuals for offenses related to child sexual exploitation and abuse. 17 people who thought they were operating in the shadows, now facing justice because of the work done by these investigators. And this is difficult and painful work. These detectives see things that no one should ever see. Images and video so graphic and disturbing that even the most seasoned investigator could have issues. And yet they keep showing up. They do it because they believe in protecting the innocent, because they know that behind every file, behind every screen, is a child who deserves justice. Our success here in Indianapolis is not ours alone. It's built on strong partnerships between local, state, and federal law enforcement. The Icac Task Force model works because it brings together experts from all levels, working together in sync, sharing intelligence, technology, and determination. I want to thank every agency involved in Operation SOS for their unwavering commitment to keeping our kids safe. And to the detectives, you've dedicated your careers to this work, and you have our deepest respect. Your courage, your focus, and your resilience is making a difference every single day. You carry a heavy burden, and yet you show up every day, keep moving forward because our children are worth it. Let's continue to work together as law enforcement, as a community, and as society to make our world a safer place for our children, and let the predators know that we are watching, we are working, and we will hold you accountable. Thank you. Chief?
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Dekoff. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Bloomington. Appreciate you all being here today. I wanted to talk a little bit about our participation in Icac. We are fortunate to be a large enough agency where we are able to assist some of the smaller agencies in our region with these types of investigations. These investigations are very difficult. The detectives that work these see things that, as Chief Bailey said, nobody should see. I want to highlight one particular case that our agencies started in June of 2023 that resulted in a 45-year federal prison sentence this morning of a Louisville, Kentucky man who victimized a 9-year-old girl in Bloomington over Snapchat. That information was obtained by our department. My detectives investigated that, and it led to the successful prosecution. We're fortunate to be able to participate in this task force with a lot of the other agencies around the state police and their assistance. And so I just want to compliment not only my own investigators, but all the other investigators around the state for the tough work that they do every day. This is not an easy job to do, and we have dedicated professionals that continue day-to-day investigations to put these people behind bars. So thank you for being here. I want to turn it over to Detective Josh Laudermill from the Terre Haute Police Department.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Detective Josh Loudermilk, and it's my privilege to represent the Terre Haute Police Department. We're honored to stand before you today to announce our recent participation in Operation SOS. As an affiliate member of the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, this is our first time that our department had the incredible opportunity to join a multi-agency, multi-task force, nationwide operation targeting internet crimes committed against children. Like many have said, protecting the most vulnerable members of our community, our children, has always been one of the Terre Haute Police Department's highest priorities. Throughout the month of April, our juvenile unit worked tirelessly alongside federal, state, and other local partners in an effort to identify, investigate, and bring to justice those who exploit children through online platforms. This operation led the Terre Haute Police Department to multiple investigations and arrests of individuals who sought to use the internet to harm children. Terre Haute Police conducted approximately 21 investigations, which resulted in 26 search warrants, multiple arrests, and the identification of a victim. One such investigation that led to an arrest in the month of April stemmed from multiple cyber tips to the cyber tip line, reporting the possible possession of child pornography. The execution of search warrants and information received led investigators to a residence in Terre Haute. Further investigation revealed this residence to be the home of a couple that has been fostering children for some time. Due to the palpable concerns about potential access to children, the Terre Haute Police Department Juvenile Unit worked quickly to identify and serve arrest and search warrants on the male guardian residing in that home. After interviewing the male, detectives were able to obtain a confession and were able to charge him. This arrest and investigation is only one instance of the impact of the Terre Haute Police Department Juvenile Unit throughout this operation. However, it's important to remember that these arrests are not just numbers. They represent lives protected and dangers removed from our streets and our screens, particularly before our children embark on their summer breaks. Every single arrest made sends a message to our community, our state, and throughout the nation. If you prey on children, we will find you and you will be held accountable. But enforcement was only one part of our mission throughout this month of April. Equally important to all of us at the Terrell Police Department is prevention. That's why, in tandem with this operation, our department participated in proactive education programs aimed at Terre Haute's youth. The Terre Haute Police Department takes pride in providing regular, year-round education to approximately 1,000 students per year in our county. Throughout April, during Operation SOS, detectives from our juvenile unit visited local schools to educate kids about social media and internet safety, how to protect their information, recognize suspicious behavior, and understand the importance of speaking up. Throughout this month of April, in particular, detectives held 3 different presentations with around 100 children. On behalf of the Terre Haute Police Department, Chief Kevin Barrett, and Mayor Brandon Sackbun, we'd like to thank the Indiana State Police and our other law enforcement partners, educators, and community leaders who are all vital to our success. Let us be clear, this is not the end, but a continuation of our unwavering commitment to child safety. We will be relentless in our pursuit of those who wish to harm children. The Terre Haute Police Department will remain vigilant, collaborative, and compassionate in our mission to continue to protect our community's future. Thank you. Turn it over to Mr. Hanna.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Hanna. I'm the Chief Deputy Prosecutor in Madison County. It's a great honor to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. The Hamilton County Metro Icac Task Force covers Hamilton, Madison, Hancock, and Tipton counties here in central Indiana. Well, we've been working together for many years now. Our office formally joined Indiana's Icac Task Force in 2024, and both the Madison County Sheriff's Department and the Anderson Police Department have recently dedicated full-time officers to the task force. Icac carries out some of the most challenging and most vital investigations in law enforcement. The fight against those who prey on our most vulnerable, our children, is not just a job, it's a calling. And these men and women have answered that call with unwavering commitment, skill, and resolve. As prosecutor, I have the privilege of seeing justice served in a courtroom. But justice doesn't begin there. It begins with investigations, with long hours of digital forensics, and the tireless efforts of police officers who are willing to meet evil where evil exists. The work is incredibly challenging, and there are things we see in these investigations that we'll never be able to forget. But through their efforts, countless children have been protected from harm, countless offenders have been brought to justice, and countless families have been spared unthinkable pain. The impact of Icac's work in our community is immeasurable. In 2024, the Hamilton County Metro Icac Task Force investigated 161 tips in our county and filed 18 criminal cases and 31 charges. This year, during the month of April alone, in conjunction with Operation Safe Online Summer, the task force opened 32 new investigations and executed 17 search warrants. To highlight just one of those cases, the task force received a NCMEC tip from Dropbox, a file hosting service, that a user had uploaded child sexual abuse material, CSAM. Subsequent search warrants located additional files of CSAM, and arrest was made for a repeat offender who, during the course of his interview, admitted a previously undisclosed child molest. As this case illustrates, these proactive investigations often uncover previously unknown criminal conduct. Also, during the month of April, the Hamilton County Metro Icac Task Force initiated a sting operation in Anderson. After months of preparation and planning, the task force used a bait house and online chatters posing as 13 and 14-year-olds to expose 8 predators who showed up to the location, which led to their arrest and the filing of 11 criminal charges. We also gained information through that operation about numerous other potential online predators, and those investigations remain ongoing. The goal of operations like these are twofold. First and foremost, to expose these predators and to bring them to justice. Every predator apprehended in a sting operation like this represents children who won't be victimized. And secondly, the public awareness generated by these operations serves as a powerful deterrent. When predators understand that law enforcement is actively monitoring online spaces and that their criminal conduct will be met with swift and severe consequences, it creates a significant deterrent effect. Our greatest responsibility is ensuring the safety and well-being of our children. And to that end, I want to thank Icac for their incredible work around the state of Indiana. That concludes our press conference today. We'll open it up for a few questions.
So you guys have mentioned, I think it was 1,782 cyber tips, and that was a huge increase. What do you guys attribute that increase to? Is that increased awareness, increased offenders?
More people are using digital devices, more children are on digital devices. So to answer your question, there are more kids using digital devices. More people are using it. We got more increased social media platforms. There's a lot more platforms out there for juveniles and young adults to use. And then also, again, kind of like what you hinted at, there is a little bit more increased awareness regarding internet safety.
And so kind of going off of that, parents who are listening to this might be concerned, obviously, with their kids being on devices and having access to all this kind of stuff. What would you say are some things that parents should be aware of, some things that they should keep an eye on in their own homes?
So parents should take an interest in what their kids are doing online. It's kind of like we as Americans are very busy in our lives. We're going to baseball games, and we don't really have that time where we're sitting down and having that evening dinner where we can decompress and talk about what's going on, right? So this is a time where we need to look at, because kids are turning to other people. They're talking to strangers. They might be talking to peers from school, but we need to look at what they're doing on these devices and know that, hey, this is a way of protecting people. One of the best examples I can give you is would you take your 10-year-old kid and drop them off right in the middle of Times Square and walk away? Essentially, it's what we're doing when we allow kids to kind of surf the internet without supervision. So it's having that discussion, talking to them, but also being open-minded. You want them to come and talk to you if something truly does happen. You want them to feel comfortable that, hey, I can go to mom, I can go to grandma, grandpa, whoever, and say, hey, I experienced this online. And parents need to be cool-headed and be able to talk with the child, but also know that there are resources out there. So one of the resources that we have out there is the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force for the state of Indiana. We have a website. It's called internetcrimesagainstkids.com. There's a lot of resources that we have posted on there for parents. We've got resources even for toddlers, because parents are giving tablets to children as young as 2 years old to entertain them. And again, we still need to be educating kids about what we're doing and talking with them. And there's a lot of literature that's on that website that talks about how to manage.
What are some other ongoing measures or programs that you have to help kind of continue combating online child exploitation?
So we have some partnerships that we invest in. So the Indiana Center for Prevention of Youth Abuse and Suicide, they're a nonprofit out of Carmel. They do a lot of our education initiative for us throughout the state of Indiana. So they go into the schools, they're talking to the children. They go into community youth organizations, or they'll even go to adult, like the Lions Club, and talk to parents about what they should be doing. So we have these partnerships. Of course, we also have the partnerships with the men here who are representing these agencies. So these guys, as the Terre Haute Police Department said, they go into their community, they go into their schools and talk with kids. Now that we're in summer, it's kind of hard to do, right? But we need the parents to kind of help us with this, kind of continue this effort, continue talking with their kids. Even having even simple things like you have devices where you're limiting how much screen time a child has, trying to encourage kids to kind of step away from that device, not live their world online, right? Trying to go out into the world, play basketball, go skateboard, do something different than just living there. So our partnerships with organizations like the Indiana Center for Prevention of Youth Abuse and Suicide is one of those things that we have that kind of helps us. We also have partnerships that we're developing with Not Today, which also goes into the communities, and they work with law enforcement to help us get.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop that piece. and go back in here. Make sure you guys can, make sure you guys can see that okay. So I am going to do this portion here and show how the cyber tip line works. I think what I'm going to also do is try to clip this, that I only have the cyber tip line also stuff in instructions so that people can watch that and share that itself. And I encourage anybody, if you have, even your own channel or anything, to be sharing the information about NetMEC's cyber tip line, website, and phone number. And if you need stuff in regards to that, please, you can send me an email at justiceservedaily@gmail.com, and I can help send stuff to you as well. And always you can share the information, my videos or whatever too. So the cyber tip line website has been updated. So now let me go through and show you how you make a cyber tip using the NetMEC, or National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website link. So when you go to the cybertipline.org, this is where you will see that you can click on report an incident. And it does also share that if someone is in immediate danger or somebody is trying to meet up with the victim or the child or yourself, that you need to call 911 or your local police department. And then I will show you information as well that helps anybody who is feeling suicidal, or if somebody is trying to encourage you to hurt yourself or to commit suicide, there is help. You can also call a telephone line, but please remember that cybertipline.org and 1-800-THE-LOST or 1-800-843-5678 is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They do not just take reports in the United States. They work with other countries as well. So you can also report any information about a cyber tip using this phone number or using the online reporting platform to do it in any country whatsoever. So it is for reporting child exploitation and other types of child sex trafficking, anything like that. If there is additional information that you need for domestic violence, for child abuse, not sexual abuse, but child physical abuse, mental abuse, there's a phone number here for that, childhelphotline.org. If you are feeling suicidal, there is suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Or you can also nationwide in the United States use 988. And there is a chat line as well as 800 numbers for you. So this is moving forward in how to make the tip and what you begin to see. And they acknowledge how difficult that this can be. And it will ask you if you are reporting something that happened, and basically to who. Is it to yourself, someone you know, Is it neither something you saw or heard, but you don't know the victim? So you are going to click on the choices here. When did the most recent incident happen? That if it hadn't occurred yet, it happened yesterday, today, now, a month ago, a month to 6 months ago, between 6 months and a year, over a year, or you don't know. If not, you can provide the appropriate date or time. If you cannot remember the most recent date, provide a date and time to the best of your knowledge. So it'll ask to please provide the approximate time, your time zone, and was this incident one time? Is it ongoing? Where did the incident happen? Is this happening to you or who you're reporting for or your child? Online, offline, both? And then it says, please choose the option that best describes your incident. And then you'll be able to select the category, other categories later if your situation fits that. And I'll show you what those are. Do you or your child victim currently feel in physical danger because of the incident? Yes, no, or I don't know. Please choose the option that best describes your incident. You'll be able to select other categories later if your situation fits multiple scenarios. So you can click on misleading words, manipulation, nude or sexual images, videos of a child, sexual abuse of a child occurring offline, person to person, someone chatting online with a child about sex, someone offering something of value to a child in return for sexual acts like money, food, shelter, a ride, clothing, drugs, someone traveling intentionally to sexually abuse a child, unwanted sexual emails or texts either involving children or sent to a child, websites or domains manipulating to display sexual contact. So you click on those and then it's going to give you an option to select another one as well so that you can have multiple ones. Are you currently over the age of 18 or under the age of 18? And I knew that was going to happen. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, that was my dog that took off and the neighbor got him. Apologize for that. So they ask your age, and then it asks if have you told anybody about this before with an adult? Yes, I told a trusted adult. Yes, I told a peer. No, I have not told anyone, or I don't know. Do you have more details about the incident? And then you'll click on that. And when you click on I have more details, it asks, where did the incident take place? If you click online, then it says online information. What action initiated the incident? And you can pick multiple ones. So a direct message contact, a group message contact, post comment, or a live stream. Do you have screenshots or chat logs from the incident? Yes or no. And then it'll ask you what type of platform. So you can pick multiple ones. So when it says about, do you have screenshots or chat logs? You click yes. It asks about, please specify which type of information you have. Check all that apply. So screenshots of possible child sexual abuse material, CSAM, chat logs, screenshots of suspect child victim profiles, no nude or lewd images. So that means it's not the first. And what type of platform did this happen on? You can pick multiple, and then it has the platform drop box. So as you look, it'll ask you, was it on social media like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Telegram, Snapchat, etc.? Was it a text or file sharing like on iMessage, AirDrop, Android Messenger, or WhatsApp? Was it on a game? Free write and learns, URL location on the internet URL field, or email, Outlook, or Gmail, etc. Then it'll ask you to summarize what happened. It does ask what device was used by the child at the time. Again, you can pick multiple. So was it on their mobile phone? And again, it can be Apple, Samsung, or Android. Was it also or on a game console, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo? Was it on a laptop or a tablet, Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, or you don't know? And again, it has for you can enter and summarize information in there. So when you go through this, I will let you know that if you need to go backwards or forwards, you're able to do that. And when you do, it's very helpful because, maybe you're not quite sure or you need to figure that out or get that or whatever. But I thought this really helps you be prepared of what type of questions they're going to ask you, what information you need, and not to be nervous. So I thought it was pretty easy the way they've redone it. So let's see, social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Telegram, Snapchat. So it says platform, social media platform is not listed, select other platform that you are using. And then it may ask you more like the room name, the chat or logs, copy and paste them in there. Do you have more information about the child victim? So I clicked yes. And then here it says where you can add the child victim. It would ask the child's first, middle, last name, obviously, if you would know that. Preference, if known. Then you'll say, it does one of the two. It'll ask you their birth, their date of birth, or what age, current age, if known. Age at the time of the incident. Which of the following best describes you? And that means if you're female, male, whatever, if you don't want to answer. Which of the following best describes you, all that apply? Do you experience any of the following conditions that are especially considered special needs? That's more for if you have a seeing impairment, hearing impairment, anything like that. Any other additional information you'd like to add? It asks what languages do you speak? Home address, if known. Again, this is about the child victim. Email known, if you know the child's email address. Phone numbers. Child victim profile URL. So that would definitely be where like you're reporting how the predator contacted them. Screen name, if known. School name, if known. Additional information. Then you can fill in what happened. So when they ask for the screen name, it asks all these platforms, which I thought were interesting at the time. And it shows common things that they get reported. So you've got the Ask, the Be Real, Cash App, Discord, Facebook, Flickr, Grindr. Again, you're going to do the screen name. House Party, Instagram, Kick, Meet Me, Messenger, Facebook, OnlyFans, PayPal, Pinterest, Plenty of Fish, Reddit, Scout, Snapchat, Steam, Tagged, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Venmo, VSCO, WhatsApp, Xbox Live, YouTube, or guess what, guys? Yubo. So you click that, you do the username. Then it asks you any information you may have about the suspect. Again, if you're not sure who the child is, you don't have to add the child victim. So let's say you see something. But if you are the child or it is your child, you can fill that information in. And then if you have any type of information about the suspect, this is where you would be able to add what details you can. So do you have first, middle, last name? What is the relationship to the suspect? And what is the suspect's relationship to the child? Parent, a caregiver, a legal guardian, in-person partner, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, online partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, have never met in person, person of trust, family, friend, or neighbor, a teacher, outside of school instructor, music, dance, etc., a coach or a group leader, school counselor, in-person friend, acquaintance, peer, online friend, acquaintance, peer, suspected trafficker, a stranger, another relative, or just other. If you know the person's date of birth or the age, then they ask what describes the suspect. And this goes into the same thing. I don't know why, but it does. It'll ask if they're male or female. And obviously, you're going to put what you think they are if it's a hidden thing. And also, it's going to ask if they have special needs. What language does the suspect speak at home? Do you know the suspect's address? Do you know what their occupation is? Are they education, government, public safety, community leader, or other? Do you know a business address for the suspect? The email address, a phone number, the suspect's URL, which I know there's a lot of people who do know it, but if you don't, when you're on the internet and you're looking at the top bar that has the full address, which shows the HTTP, you want to get that full URL. So you need to include the HTTP part. So when you go up to the top while you're looking at something and you click on, you want that full URL that you're going to drop. You're going to include the screen name if you know what they call themselves, right? Like an Emily Ann 45 or an Anthony Shots, right? Does the suspect have current access to any child? Does the suspect have current access to firearms? Is the suspect a convicted sex offender? Does the suspect have any gang affiliations? Then, if there's a vehicle, this would be probably more like if they're trying to pick somebody up or showed up somebody somewhere. But if you have that happening, you should be calling 911. But this information is going to get to your local police department. But NetMec, when they pick it up and they see all of it and they verify all this stuff and they send it on to your local authorities, wherever you're located. Remember, this can be internationally reported using NetMec's cybertipline.org or the phone number 1-800-THE-LOST. If you do this, this puts some priority on it because you've reported it to NetMec. And if there's more than one suspect, you can add additional. Has the incident been reported to the police or law enforcement agency? Yes, no, I don't know. Now, you can sit here and report this as a, as that you haven't reported this yet. It doesn't matter either way, but you can report this here first for something you find out that's happened. Has the incident been reported somewhere else? So a school resource officer, the doctor, CPS, a teacher, friend, another adult, unknown, a hotline of a non-government agency. And it says any information you provide here will become part of the official report. You are not mandated or required to complete any of these fields nor be contacted. Providing your contact information may allow the cyber tip line team to gather additional information and or provide support, as well as allow law enforcement to validate the report by reaching out with questions. Both the cyber tip line and law enforcement will maintain confidentiality with your contact information. So it asks you, would you like to leave your contact information? Yes or no? And then it says, is there anything you think would be important for law enforcement or the cyber tip line to know? Again, it asks for difficulties or anything like that. And then it add whatever you want to, add all of that. And then it's going to have a click where it says review and submit. And so like for this is where I started and where I clicked on, at the beginning when I started, I clicked on I'm reporting something that happened. I click on myself and then click on this. So if this was your things and you were clicking on it, it lets you review all of it. So you're just going to scroll down and review what all your answers were to the questions. So, and then after you review everything that you've entered, you can click submit. So the cybertipline.org and the 1-800-THE-LOST, again, is a great resource if your child, if your grandchild, anybody has had, they believe there's somebody's being molested, as somebody being sexually extorted, it's somebody meaning blackmailed if they don't send images, is somebody being contacted and they're trying to talk to them sexually online, if they're communicating with them inappropriately and they're doing it through online gaming, anything, text, Facebook Messenger, a Facebook chat group that's supposed to be about suicide, which is what 764 is doing, right? Anything like that whatsoever, you can go here and report it. You can report it, and like I showed you, you can be anonymous reporting it. If you're a parent, you probably don't want to be. You probably want to report everything that you can, what you've seen, and in there. They're not going to have you send, CSAM and stuff to you, but like you saw, they want the URLs because they're going to go check this person. And I guarantee you, if there is a person contacting your child is not the only child they're doing this to. They're doing it to many children. So if you know this is going on, or you suspect that something's going on, or a child is being sex trafficked, or like I said, or molested, and anything like that, or you see somebody who is passing around images or is sharing links to stuff that you find out, maybe you're just a guy and you see some guy is sharing this shit or doing whatever, and you find out about it, report it. Because just like we just watched for the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, more people are becoming aware of this. And some of these children, when they identify them, they go rescue and save these children out of there. And then some of these children, they can't even identify. They have to work to try to identify the children. But if you bust somebody because they're contacting your kid, you're not just saving your kid, or you're just not protecting yourself from no longer being the victim of this predator. They don't have control over you. Report it, for you don't have to go through this anymore. And you will not suffer this anymore. And you can use this website, or if you don't feel comfortable with computers, maybe you're a grandmother who doesn't use computers a lot and you don't know how to use it, call the 1-800-THE-LOST number, and they will walk you through getting the information from you. So you are not alone. Look at the thousands of children, and I'm going to go back. You know what I'll do? I'll do it this way because it'll be quicker. If you think you're alone, I'll go to this one. I want you to look at this. This is Cyber Tips. Just in the state of Indiana for 2024, 18,183 cyber tip reports. That's one state. And we're not the worst. And I will say this again. I really, really believe that a legacy from Abby and Libby and the Delphi case brought to light of children being victims for predators who are catfishing, who are using fake profiles. Remember what stuff that Keegan Kline was arrested for. And Keegan Kline was only arrested for his Emily Ann. Well, let me take that back. Part of the Emily Ann and his Keegan things. He wasn't arrested for the Anthony Shots images. He wasn't arrested for those. Nobody's been arrested for those Anthony Shots. He was only arrested locally, charged only locally for half of the victims, which he had 15 in Indiana, that he took images for and talked to that way. Remember the searches that were also being done for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds that Emily Ann was sharing with somebody else on the internet, which is a federal crime. That's not a state crime. That's a federal crime when you use the internet. Remember about 764 that I've shown you details how they would share gore and they share crime and they encourage school shootings and all those types of things. Well, let me remind you, do you remember when the phone that Keegan Klein was using that they said while in Vegas, somebody looked up the Sandy Hook shootings? Somebody was also looking up to gangbang 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds in there. When you have a normal mind, it is very difficult for you to even possibly think of what some of these people are sharing with each other, talking about with each other, or doing to children victims. And if you're watching my community post of the people who have been caught and arrested, don't feel bad for Indiana because of how many reports we have and all the people being arrested. Our guys are being arrested. What's happening in your state or your country? What are your laws locally for predators getting out? Are they required to serve their full time, or are they letting them leave early? Or are they just making them register as sex offenders and letting them out because you know they reoffend? You know they get victims. Some of these people are doing to share it, to look at images. Some people are doing it to make money. That's the one thing, the one thing that we have in common is between Richard Allen and the Anthony shots is that the phones for 2017, the phone that Keegan and the Kleins had was erased. That's why he was charged with trying to prevent the criminal investigation, right? Well, Richard Allen got rid of his phone. You can't say he didn't have CSAM because nobody has his phone from them. He had many years to get rid of what shit he had back then. If you or your child or your grandchild have been a victim, please report it. You're not alone. We believe you. We want you to go and we want you to report it. If you feel like you are in trouble because you've already shared images, they have a take it down program for NetMec to help get your images off the internet. A new law was passed. Now these social media platforms have 48 hours to remove your crap when they're notified. Use that program through NetMec. It's in that cybertipline.org information. You'll find that out as well. They will help you take it down. If you feel suicidal or that you are trapped in there, you're not alone. Call 988. Talk to somebody. Reach out to somebody. Call the 1-800 The Lost number. Talk to somebody. Get help, please. It is not worth your effort, your time, and your life. I did create a short video that was made for kids, technically. It's a little short. I just made it, and it's out what to do if somebody's asking you for a new pic. And the main theme of that is say no. Don't ever send it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. And then After you say no, make sure you know what their URL called. What was their username? How did they contact you? Take the screenshots of them talking to you. They're trying to get you on Kick, and everything else for their shit will erase, and you don't have evidence against them. And then after you get all that information, then report it and block them. So there are over 18,000 reports just in 2024. In 2025, April of this year, the most ever NetMec reports. And I pray to God, and this is why I will do this until I drop dead of a heart attack, God help me, that I inform one family, one child, how to report this and to make everything be okay. It's going to be okay. You are going to be okay. And if you have a child, or if you have a channel, or if you have anything, please share these videos. I'm not a big giant YouTuber like some of these others who get all this. Please share it. Please inform other people how to report. You may think you never know it, but now I will tell you. There are so many people who I get contacted that their kid had this happen, or their kid got contacted, or they found something they didn't think they had to worry about their kid, and then they went on their phone and they found something. Right. You don't know. It's everywhere. If your kid has a cell phone, they have been approached this way. 100%. If you have a platform, please help me share this information. Share this information for your own state, your own country. Use this. Use the cybertipline.org 1-800-THE-LOST. You can go to my community chat. You'll see I've posted it many times. Share that. Ask people to let them know. Help me educate people and the parents and the grandparents and the families. And God help us all, the kids. Silence makes these predators stronger. They're scared for you to speak up. So I am going to have some more information coming. I know I'm behind in giving you a lot of stuff that I want to get to you. I'm excited about doing that. I've tried to take it easy, so forgive me for that break. Thank you for being patient and still going along and watching the show through me talking about the times I had with my health and me being frightened and scared and everything with it. But I promised myself, even though that I have been very sick, that I am still going to make a difference with my life as long as I possibly can. And I want to help save these kids from this horrific abuse. They don't deserve that. And if you were ever a victim of that, or child abuse, or mental abuse, or verbal abuse, remember that child that doesn't understand why it's happening to them. I talk about stuff that people don't want to see and they don't want to hear. Well, I want you to think of the little kid it's happening to. You don't want to see it and hear it, but they go through it. Please help me. Help me spread this word. I do thank you guys very much for being here with me. And staying with me while I haven't had the show on for a while. I have a lot of stuff to catch up on, a lot of cases that there's some I need to update and everything for too. But I appreciate you all. It means a lot to me. I always do this too late in the show. I know I do it all the time, but I'm not a monetized channel because I'm just trying to get the word out and help missing kids and abused kids and unsolved cases. And I do it for the likes and the subscribes. So if you can help me with likes and subscribes, that would be amazing and wonderful. So I appreciate all of you. Mama Bear, thank you so much for modding today. I appreciate it. Farmer, Cryptex, Mustang 65, thank you for being a new subscriber. And thank you very much, guys, for the love and support that you've had. Keep an eye on the community posts to see about what cases and things and everyday happenings that are going on. If you have something that you need me to look at or cover, please go to justiceserveddaily@gmail.com. Send me an email, and I will do my best. And I appreciate you all so much. And again, thank you for being here today. Oh, wait, I can't not say it. Go Pacers. Go Pacers. Thank God my heart's fixed because those Pacer games were getting to me there. I would love to see them in Game 7. That would be freaking awesome. And so I'm going to partake in a nice dinner and some drinks and watch that Pacer game. But thank you guys for being here. And as always, thank you for making sure that justice is served daily.